Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. If you're looking to get more sales, more customers, master your marketing, and ultimately take control of your retail or e-commerce business, then you're in the right place. I'm Selena Knight, a retail growth strategist and multi-award-winning store owner whose superpower is uncovering exactly what your business requires to move to the next level. I'll provide you with the strategies, the tools, and the insight you need to scale your store. All you need to do is take action. Ready to get started? Hey there, and welcome back to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. With the social media algorithms constantly demanding new content, and especially video content, it can be extremely costly and time consuming to try and keep up. Now, I don't know about you, but what inevitably happens is that you try and you go really well in the beginning, but then you burn out fast and your posting just gets less and less and less. And if you're doing ads, maybe your ads get recycled and they start to lose their zing. But what if there was a better way to get that video content out there without you and your team constantly filming and constantly burning yourselves out? Well, that's what today's guest, John Garguilo, hopefully I said that right. He'll jump in and correct me if it's not. Hopefully John is going to tell us how we can not be a slave to the algorithm, but still put out great quality content. And especially in this lead up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, how can we, I'm not going to say compete with the big guys, but how can we stand on our own and make sure we're not losing our piece of the pie? So welcome to the show, John.
Thank you. That was an awesome lead, and I could talk about this stuff all day.
You have had a really interesting career journey to get here. Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, gosh. Well, I started out as a brand guy. So I went to Miami Ad School to be a copywriter, which was a great skill to learn, back when there was long copy and all that good stuff. Got to work for my dream ad agency in New York at Cliff Freeman and Partners. They did Where's the Beef, Pizza, a lot of the .com era stuff, kind of a comedy agency. Had restaurants in New York, decided, hey, I love food, so maybe I should be in the restaurant business. Don't do it if you're thinking of doing it. Call me.
I was going to say, that's a really, I once upon a time wanted to have a cafe too. And then I did the numbers and went, why do I want to have a cafe? Never.
It's really hard. I call it an MBA in real life. I'm really grateful I did it. I had a couple panini shops in Manhattan, and then got into tech and moved out here to sunny California in 2011. And been out here ever since. I was at Airbnb for a few years in marketing, and then started Ready Set, my digital agency in 2019. I
have to ask you, you just said before we jumped on, I just have to remind you, I'm the creative guy, not the tech guy. How do you go from a restaurant, you went from brand creative to restaurant? I'm going to say maybe if you're a chef, a little bit creative, but running a restaurant is not a creative enterprise, and then back to create. What was going through your mind to go, I'm going to open a restaurant or three?
I always said even in my early 20s, I said, if I hit my 30th birthday and I have not started my own thing of some kind, then I have to quit on my 30th birthday. Made this promise to myself and try something. Coincidentally, right around my 25th birthday, I went into Cliff's office and told him, you know what? I'm going to move on and start this restaurant chain. So it was something I always wanted to do. And I figured, I was young and naive, but I figured I do love business and figuring things out. And I think I could be good at this. I interviewed like 37 successful restaurateurs to learn all the mistakes they made. So I wouldn't make them, and gave it my best. And we did all right. And then ran into 08, 09.
Yes, that was when I started my business. It's amazing what you learn starting a business in the middle of a financial crisis.
We had a great promotion where I rolled back all of the prices of our sandwiches to 1929 crash prices. And it was in New York Magazine. There were lines all the way around the block. It was a crazy day.
Did it work? Did you end up selling those businesses?
I mean, I sold a ton of sandwiches for 20 cents, but the goal was a PR thing. So I'd like to think it helped, but you got to try something creative to get things moving.
Okay. So we went from creative to now, essentially you own a tech company. Again, it's this other leap. Like, what made you think, I need to start a tech company? Because you just told me you're not the tech guy.
No, I'm not the tech guy. My first tech company was BlueStacks, which I was there pre-launch. There were a handful of us. They're now over 1 billion downloads. If you don't know BlueStacks, it's basically the way to run a mobile app on your PC or Mac. Still probably the number one way to do that. So I was there doing marketing and business development. Actually, I've never said this publicly, but it's kind of a fun fact as of 2024. I was going to go to business school in New York, and we were out here. We had met this really fun couple at a wedding in South Carolina randomly that lives out here. And I'm like, hey, we're coming out there just to hang and see San Francisco. Do you want to go to this Scribe winery that's opening now? It's a big place too. They're like, yeah, let's go to that place. Barely knew these people. Sitting down with them, and they go, John, don't go to business school. I'd already done the applications. I gotten in. Come work out here. They worked at Twitter, both of them. This is 2010. And it was blowing up. Like, don't do that. Tech is amazing. It's great. And it was like the beginning of that 13-year bull run. This is before all the haters came and hated on tech. And I'm like, really? All right. And started thinking about it and interviewing places. And fast forward 14 years, he was already amazing. They both are as a couple. But Kevin just got named Chief Product Officer at OpenAI, which we use every day for our AI product. None of those sentences, especially the last few, could I have predicted at that winery in 2010, but here we are.
Isn't it funny how some people, I'm just laughing because I did this to you. I was like, oh, pre-podcast chat. Hey, you've got a thing in LA. I'm going to be in LA. I've got a few hours. How about I just come and look at your production studio? Because what else am I going to do in LA? I'm
so glad you are. Yeah. And we can talk more about that. I think the merger of production, like real people, real actors, real footage, and AI and what it can do with that has got massive implications for e-com and retail going forward.
I feel like we perfectly segued into where this conversation was supposed to be heading anyway, which is you have a new product called Airpost. I have to admit, I was a little bit skeptical when I received the request for you to come on the podcast because we vet every person who comes on. I was just like, oh, another AI person. But
AI guy.
I know, another AI guy. Everyone wants to talk about AI. And I said to Joette, what was it about this person that got through the initial quality check to end up on my desk? Because trust me, we get hundreds of them and not everyone ends up on my desk. And she's like, he looks really interesting. That was all she had was he looks really interesting. I think you should talk to him. And when I did talk to you, I have to admit, I'm loving AI, but I'm going to say extremely cautious about AI right now. Yes, it's handy to have, but we're currently recruiting. And I can tell you, I'm going to say 95% of the applications that we're getting are written by AI. And sometimes you know it because they're identical. And we know that in terms of e-commerce, there are some AI platforms that are making life a little bit easier for things like product descriptions and changing the models that you can put your clothes on and things like that. But then AI can be seriously bad in the wrong hands or with the wrong prompts or in the wrong use case. So how have you decided to make a good AI?
Yeah, great question. First of all, I'm with you. I'm even beyond cautious. I would say I'm a short-term sort of skeptic. In other words, if you came to me and said, John, I just got pitched this AI tool. It looks cool. My default would be, really? Like, you know what I mean? So we can talk more about that. A bit of irony because I'm building an AI tool that just launched. But I think that it has to be useful. I think that's the biggest problem right now is that you called it, like most stuff produces generic pap. And it's kind of like having an okay intern who looks and talks and does everything all the other interns do. And so that's pretty crazy, like to be able to talk with someone like that and chat with someone like that on ChatGPT. But when the rubber hits the road and you need those product descriptions and you don't want to spend more time training something or fixing something than just doing it yourself, it's just not there yet. And I like what Michael Dell said recently, more about the monetization side. You know, the conversation reminds him of the conversation around the internet in 1995, which was, oh yeah, this thing's in all the papers and it's all this hype, but no one's making money with it yet. Some big companies even tried to put a website up and it failed. And, this isn't going to be a thing. This is kind of a fad, or it's kind of not going to be big. And of course, as we all know, it became everything. And the top 5 most valued companies in the world are internet companies 10, 20 years later. I think that's kind of what's going to happen with AI, with the asterisk, don't believe anyone who says they know what's going to happen because we're all figuring it out together.
Can I preface this with a story? When the internet first came out, I was working in local government and we got access to the internet, and I was doing some research and I was working on a Saturday and I just wanted to go to a TV station to see what time a program was on that I wanted to watch. And so I typed in what I thought would be remember, this was the beginning. We didn't know what we were looking for. We just typed stuff. And so we have a channel here called Channel 10. And so I think I just typed in channel10.com and I ended up with a porn site.
Oh my gosh.
At work.
Wow.
We didn't have the whole filter thing. Remember that it was brand new. We didn't have all the firewalls and things like that. But I just remember going, holy crap. But what else would I have searched for? The reason I tell you that story is because I feel like right now AI is exactly the same. It is as good as the person who knows the question to ask in AI language. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Yes. And by the way, I want to inject here, knowing how to ask something in AI language, I think is not a good thing that companies are asking of people today. If you give not only my aunt or mom, but my friend, like, here, prompt, say anything you want. It'll make a thing for you. It'll make a movie. It'll make a design. It'll make a podcast. Like, I don't know what to put. It'll make an ad. Maybe I come up with one or two ideas. Maybe it gives me templates of a few more things, but I'm sure there's a name for it and someone must have come up with one. It's kind of like prompt fatigue or prompt intimidation. I don't think we're going to be prompting stuff in 5 years. I personally believe that that's part of the problem, and that AI will be built into everything in the back end more likely.
Okay. So I started this conversation with an intro talking about content and specifically video content. And so people are probably listening going, I don't understand, Sal. How are you going to get this conversation to there? So I think this is the perfect part where I hand over to you and tell you, what does this amazing AI software, I'm going to call it software. No, that's not even the right word. What does this amazing product that you have created that I am coming to have a look at this week in just a few days, what does it do and how is it going to help the people who are listening?
Okay. I'm going to dive right into it. I'm just going to show it to you because I don't like when I'm listening to a podcast or something and I still can't figure out 5 minutes in what the guy's talking about, what the heck they do. So,
so if you are not watching this on YouTube, this is the part where you head to YouTube so that you can see what John is talking about.
Yes. And I will narrate as best I can for the folks listening only. So the problem we are solving for with Airpost is mostly small to mid-sized brands, particularly in e-com, that need footage, that need more ads for paid social, that need creative diversity for Black Friday and beyond, and don't have an easy time getting it. I'm just going to leave it there. Let me show you what it is. So you go to airpost.ai, you answer like 2 simple questions. You send your product or products to our 10,000 square foot LA studio. We have a full-time production team there. We shoot the product. We also have literally hundreds of thousands of vertical video shots of people, real shots, not creepy AI, uncanny shots. Hands using your product, etc. And then you get it's actually down to 1 week now. You get an email, hey, your ads are ready. And that's it. I just had a customer call with a very happy paying customer. And she said she expected I'd have to pay money before I saw all my ads. You don't have to pay anything. And then you get ads that are purpose built for social. Here, I'll open up this guy. This is what you get. It's like super simple. You can see alpha. Like you guys are seeing this extremely early. We just launched weeks ago. We have a very long wait list right now. We're trying to scale up operations and everything. But it jumps right to finished ads. Some of them have people talking. Some of them have voiceovers underneath. Some of them just have music. Some of them are catchy and TikToky. Some of them are long form. There's a lot of them. You can filter through them. So that's Airpost, and that's the problem we're trying to solve.
Okay. So you're creating UGC with real people, real actors, real voices, as opposed to AI generated content, which like you said, it's always a little bit creepy. The people are a little bit too polished. Sometimes they have, 6 fingers. Yeah. Every time I say that, I was reading this fiction book the other day and the woman put on a 6-fingered glove. And so she was like, well, if I ever get caught doing anything wrong, I could say AI generated it because I had 6 fingers.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Sorry, hilarious. Where does the AI part come into it?
Good question. So you noticed there was nothing to prompt. There was no, oh, we're doing AI. Look at this AI thing. It's just solving the problem. I think that's what I would encourage anyone building in this world to try to do, by the way, is not try to be AI and go raise money and blow through it, but rather, who are you solving a problem for? And if AI can help, great. Where the AI comes in is in the background. So all of those, I'll pull them up again, all these video ads that you're seeing, no human touched these. No human came up with the idea for them. No human edited them. They are completely orchestrated, is the best I could do so far, by AI. The voiceover is written by AI. We can actually put words on a Post-it note or an end card with this is like a After Effects template through a product called Plainly, if you're an AI nerd like me, to make that happen. So the whole thing is built with AI, Sal, but there's no uncanny people staring at the camera. Ironically, it's actually one of the features we are adding is, let me go to another website just for you, all you are interested. HeyGen, which has raised a lot of money. Their whole thing is like, that's not a real person. That's the CEO's avatar. This is the sort of creepy person staring at the camera. I'm calling it uncanny creepy person staring at the camera. They have 5 fingers. That's actually his hands. It's just they manipulate the face. It's actually gotten a lot better. I wish one of these was animated. But yeah, there you go. It's actually pretty damn good. And we're going to be integrating these into our ads so that you could actually have this woman also, talking in front of a green screen, et cetera. So this is the worst it'll ever be. Where is the AI, you ask? It's kind of melted into the cake versus the thing itself.
So I have a question for you. One, I love the thing that you just showed, and I feel like the HeyGen, there are apps out there for people who are listening where I really think it makes sense now. It may not make sense in the future, but you can personalize content to go out to your people. So if you had a VIP come in, you might send them a personalized message that's, hey, John, I just wanted to jump in and send a message to you and say, we really value and we welcome you to our business, blah, blah, blah. And it can take John and it can make it Peter and it can make it Sally and it can make it all the things. But you record the original message. I think that's great. I think it will get to the point where that is overdone. Personally, I still take the 15 seconds and I record personal messages to real people, usually when I'm walking my dog, because it's something I can do the same thing at the same time. But I have a question for you in regards to AI. At the moment, correct me if I'm wrong, this may be something that's coming, but at the moment, you get the product into your production studio, you have the actors, they come in, they record the UGC, and you're using AI for the back end. But moving forward, you'll be able to take those same real actors and real people and real voices and real product and use AI to manipulate it to come up with more than a piece of content, one piece of content. Is that correct?
To be basically we're always going for variety and realness. Like the goal we have is that I could show you 3 of those ads and 5 total. And 2 of the ads are actually from my agency, Ready Set, or an agency that charges a lot of money to big clients to make those ads, and you can't tell which ones came from which. And so one thing that's not in the ads I showed you for that are in Airpost now are actual people talking to the camera. So HeyGen is a way for us to use that API to bring in those people. So it's really adding flavor to the ads.
Did you answer my question? Sorry, I'm still confused.
I think so. Like you're asking how HeyGen and bringing those humans into the frame is like, what's that doing? And it's actually more just adding another dimension to the ads, right? If you go through your phone and you go through Instagram ads, and we want Airpost ads to be indistinguishable from those ads that people spend a lot of money and time doing, we probably need to have people in them. So that's the why for that. Real people who are kind of avatarized.
Real people who are digitally manipulated.
There should be an acronym for that. Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. But right now, if people, what I really liked about your service was the fact that it was, I thought, ridiculously affordable.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing.
And I'm sure
that think I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I'm sure that will change. If you send something to an influencer, you're going to be paying usually several $100s to get them to create a couple of pieces of content. And this is not a podcast just to talk about your product and to pitch your product. I don't get anything out of sharing your product. What I'm seeing is I know that it is very difficult to keep up with the content bandwagon. And I can see that right now already you have a great product, but once you do these extras that you're talking about, people will be able to get, 5 pieces of content, 10 pieces of content from that original piece of content that you helped them create.
I think you absolutely see it. Can I go like 5 years into the future for a second? Of like
5? Oh, wait, 5 years?
I mean, the way things are moving now, 5 years is like...
I was going like 6 months into the future.
Seriously. Okay. So here's our thesis of where we are all headed with this, which is, you've heard this potentially. Creative is the new targeting. It's all broad audience on Facebook. It's all okay algorithms. You said it at the start of this podcast. You have all the answers. You know even more than your engineers know inside Facebook of how to find the right people. They now have a way to find incremental customers, make sure they don't find people that, it's really damn smart, and it's the worst it's ever going to be. So what does that look like down the line? It looks like a place where you need as much creative diversity as possible. You need as many creatives, net new, different creatives, not light blue background, dark blue black background, as many different creatives, different types of actors, different value propositions, different objection handling, all of that, maybe thousands of them. It's hard to picture now, but it's absolutely the case. Pile on top of that, this developing understanding that Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, they can see your creative like a priori of what's actually, when it actually gets responded to, when it actually goes live. We know this because they can see if there's a TikTok watermark in it, right? And then they won't let it run. They can tell, of course, with AI, if there's a woman or a man, they know if it's long or short, but they can see the content. And just in the last 6 months now, Gemini's come out and been able to not only just tell you, this is what I'm seeing in this clip, Apple, man, surfing, but describe in detail what's happening with the action. That's actually a very quiet, revolutionary thing that just happened. And so if these platforms can do all this, now we're in 2029, then give it as many creatives as you can and have it pick, that's going to work for this audience. The algorithms, God knows how good they'll be then, or in 2039, they'll go out there and do their thing. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It's also a little bit scary because I wonder if there will be backlash. I don't even think it will take 5 years, but I wonder if there will be backlash. I don't know the answer to this, of people wanting regular people that they know are regular people again. And I'm laughing inside because you jumped on and you said, is this a video podcast or an audio podcast? And you're in your office, you're not prepped, you've got your hat on. And I'm thinking, are we going to get to this point where we're looking in the background to see, is there a dog walking past? Is this a real person? Because I even was wondering when you got on, I was like, is that just a background? Or this is my real background. Is this your real background?
Did you see the HeyGen CEO? Of course they polish this because it's the, top of their website and they have $100 million. But this is AI. The one cool thing about AI demos is they can't make it up. I don't think they went to Industrial Light and Magic and had them edit this pixel by pixel. This is not a real person, but it looks pretty darn good, And so I think I'm already wondering sometimes when I see something like this, is that real or not? Or is there a dog in the background,
No, and I don't know how as consumers, whether we're talking about consumers of social media or consumers of product or consumers of ads, as consumers and a general community, are we going to get to a level of skepticism where we're just I don't know. And I wonder if we're really going to come back to this grassroots, where it all started, word of mouth, people meeting in real life to make sure that that's a real thing, the rise of bricks and mortar once again, because I want to go and touch it and feel it and not think it was digitally edited. And it's funny because I'm sure this happened, I don't know, back when they started photoshopping magazine covers back in the day.
100%.
And nobody realized, and it took, I'm going to say decades before people realized that the covers were airbrushed. And it wasn't until we, maybe in the 90s or the 2000s where they started saying, this was the cover, but this was the real Photoshop, the photo shoot. I wonder if we're going to get to that.
I think we are. I think it's hard to predict, but there'll definitely be seesaws back and forth on this stuff. My feeling is the Mad Men era of spending months and millions making 1 or 3 spots for TV with all kinds of kooky stuff going on that you don't really know if it worked or not. And it's very real and it's very expensive and it's very time consuming. I don't think that will totally go away. I think that there will always be that real, brand feel and flavor. I compare it to, we're sitting here in 1850 and every coffee table is made by craftsmen. Maybe you know the guy in town who makes a table, and it's like, that's how it's done. And some guy walks into town and he's like, I want to start this thing called Crate and Barrel. And he's talking to the craftsmen themselves, by the way. I have some of these conversations. Can you show me how you make that table? Because I'd like to go make 1,000 of them and charge a tenth, which is great for people to be able to afford that table. Maybe pisses off the craftsmen, maybe pisses off the townspeople. Are like, oh, we don't want all these same tables. We like our craft table. Even today, you and I, my breakfast table was made by a guy by hand, but we're mostly going to, West Elm and IKEA. So I think in general, Sal, it'll normalize, and we'll feel like fuddy-duddies looking at this in 20 years being like, oh, come on. Like, of course, our Photoshop, in 1981 being like, oh, no one will stand for that. But there'll also be, I think there are magazines who are like, we don't use Photoshop, and some people are really into that. So who knows? Okay.
So I have a question for you around Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And that is, I know you're the creative guy. What do you think, or what do you see? Because you are working with hundreds of retail and e-commerce brands. What are you seeing is the current trend towards content that is being created for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, 2024?
I just had a call on this. Again, not pitching us, like work with whoever you want, work with your internal team, creative diversity, and getting your hit ads lined up before you get close to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So you are not testing then. I think that's the most important thing. So I know that sounds broad, but it's really true. And it depends what vertical you're in, et cetera.
Yeah, I think definitely the testing beforehand is so important. Like it's too expensive. Yeah. And we're seeing now that Black Friday, Cyber Monday is now beginning at the beginning of November. Like it's ridiculous. And I only feel that will be worse or exacerbated this year because of the economy and so many brands having to dump stock to be able to make space. I could be wrong. This is my economic.
No, I hadn't thought of that. Argument. That's insightful, actually. Yeah.
Is that so many brands have so much stock to get rid of because they haven't performed as well. And this is their opportunity between Black Friday and the January sales. It has to go. I predict very deep discounting. And as independent retailers, we can't necessarily compete with that. And I don't think you should compete with that. So if I can go back and just rephrase the question that I asked, which was, my question originally was, what kind of content are people using? Do you have any insight? Can you give us a little insider trading secrets as to what kind of deals or offers you're seeing brands wanting to go forward with in this, peak period?
Sure. So we work with, Ready Set, our digital agency, we work with a lot of larger brands like DoorDash, Hims and Hers, a lot of e-commerce players. And actually, I talked to them about this. They are mostly trying to resist discounting too much, right?
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I love these insider conversations.
I mean, they're still discounting, but I think naively, I don't know, if you asked me years ago, I would assume, oh, well, I see stuff of 70% off, 50% off. That's when you really go for it. You have to out discount your competitors. And maybe that was true in the go-go 2021s where you just needed to add your customer roles so your VCs would fund your next round of, whatever you're making. But nowadays it's like, no, let's not lose money during this period. We know there's going to be a flood of attention. What was it? $200 billion are spent over those days or something crazy. I was reading some stats, like 61% of Americans, bought something during that period. So it's real and it's important, but I don't know. I also have met brands that have overdone it and over discounted and regretted it.
So do you think
I wouldn't try to if you see a competitor giving 70% off, I don't think that means you have to. I guess if there's another nugget in here, it's take care of your community, take care of your current buyers, right? Take care of them via email, give them a bigger discount. It can be hard if you, been with your e-com brand for years and then, you just spend a bunch of money to renew or whatever, a subscription, and all of a sudden you see some huge sale go on that new people are getting and you're now not. So I think that's another ethos that's nice for most e-com brands is be sure to take care of your current customers.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, segmenting, I think people who listen to this podcast regularly must be like, oh my God, she's saying personalization and segmenting again. I think she says that every single episode. But I just don't think that you can avoid it these days. Exactly what you said, like really looking at your offers for the people who've been with you, for the high spenders, for the bargain hunters. Everybody wants something different. And your people who are wanting the latest edition of something the minute that it drops are not the same people who hunt in the bargain section.
That's a very good observation. That's also true. There are people who are just hunting for deals, and they typically are not great customers. The people that are going to freak out over your 60% off sale and sign up like crazy and it seems exciting are maybe only going to buy once, or they only kind of wanted it when it was cheap. I know that's not necessarily new news, but it's absolutely what I hear from retailers we work with.
I think those are really good insights, and it was interesting because I didn't prep you for those questions. So thank you for...
You asked me for the inside scoop. That's just, I'm literally having these calls with folks and that's what I'm hearing. And then just start early, like really early. Like if you're not started now, like stay this weekend and get it going, particularly on the creative side.
Okay. So you said that start now on the creative side. So what you're saying is not necessarily start running Black Friday, Cyber Monday ads. Forgive me, correct me if I'm wrong. What you're saying is have a plan. No, maybe you're starting to add to your email list. Maybe you're going to test out some different ad creatives now when it's cheaper, because it's only going to get, every day that goes past, it's only going to get more expensive.
More expensive and more risky if you're still testing when, like you said, this Black Friday, Cyber Monday period is expanding. I just saw a Happy Holidays sign with a pumpkin at CVS, by the way. It's September 23rd when we're recording this. So
I just saw Christmas. No,
you didn't.
Yeah, we don't really do Halloween a lot here in Australia. I went into, for those who are listening to Australia, I went into Big W, which is just sort of downstep from your Target. And I walked in and in front of me was Halloween and behind that was Christmas decorations. And I was like, it is September as we record this. And in fact, that was like 10 days ago. So that was the 10th or so of September and there are Christmas decorations out there. And I think it is just brands not necessarily expecting people to buy, but they're prepping people in their minds. It's like, if things are a little bit tight, maybe you might want to grab a box of, Christmas decorations this week and you're just kind of eking out your purchases. I don't know what the sentiment is, but all I know is it is very strange that there are marshmallow Santas in the little convenience store next door and Christmas decorations in the department stores.
It's a new record every year.
Every year. John, thank you so much. I really appreciate giving us an insider scoop. I love that you have this AI/hybrid piece of, would you call it a software? What do you call it? What's the technical term?
Airpost is definitely software. I think we're trying to sort of disrupt the space and disrupt ourselves, disrupt Ready Set, our agency, with software. With, we have this huge repository of footage. We can shoot footage very efficiently, put it all together. I use a kitchen metaphor. It's like we have this huge pantry and the AI is simply helping, we have these recipes that we, performance frameworks and things like that, 3 reasons why, et cetera. And we have these, I hate to call them robo chefs, but like it's kind of what it is, that are taking all the food from the pantry and making dishes, sending them out. So yes, it's very much software with Airpost.
Okay. Software, but with real people. This is where my brain is hurting a little bit.
No. Good question. So software, but with real people, the ingredients themselves, Selena, they're real.
Yes.
I think what others are doing, listen, I come from brand, I come from video. A lot of the AI companies come from tech, come from engineering, come from Google. And they're like, yeah, people, whatever. Like, let's just make ads and we'll have all AI, creepy person staring at the camera, reading a script. They don't care about the script. The script's almost invariably cheesy or generic or not good or not going to perform. And they're like, look, an ad. It looks like an ad. Which is what you don't want, by the way. So those are like full on AI in your face, prompt whatever ad you want. And the people are not really real. There's no shots of them jumping on a bed or doing a dance or looking in their fridge and not finding anything or whatever. That's where we bring the real to that and then use AI to cook it. That makes sense.
I think it's brilliant. And I'm very glad that you managed to get through our QA check and I'm super excited. Super excited to come and see the production studio and see how you put all of this together. So yes, you have the real people are ingredients and then you have the robo chefs cooking it all up and delivering it. I love that analogy.
You've got it. And I'm rooting for everyone listening for Black Friday, Cyber Monday to have an awesome one. Can I tell them about one thing that we have going that we haven't mentioned that could be valuable?
Go for it.
Whether you use us or somebody else, I'm not religious about, but if you have an internal team that's like holy crap, I just heard Selena's podcast. We need a lot more creatives. We don't have the direct response kind of performance editors to do it or scale it, or we're overwhelmed. We built something called Sleepless.ai, and it's simply like turn the key performance video editors and designers that can just make crap happen for not that much money for teams that are feeling overwhelmed trying to get creative going. So that's a full-on just service, but I wanted to share that. And there's other brands out there, other companies that do similar things. But if you need help, there's help.
Awesome. So we'll put the links in the show notes. So we have Airpost is our hybrid with real people and robo chefs.
Yep.
And then we have Sleepless.ai for people who maybe have their own content but need the help in the back end.
Exactly. It's not the shooting. It's like, just help me make stuff with this.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I know we're not going to meet in person next week, but I am looking forward to seeing everything that happens at Airpost HQ. And I'll make sure I report back. Make sure you follow me on socials and you can get behind the scenes as well.
Amazing. Thank you for having me, Sal.
Thank you.
So that's a wrap. I'd love to hear what insight you've gotten from this episode and how you're going to put it into action. If you're a social kind of person, follow me at @TheSelenaKnight and make sure to leave a comment and let me know. And if this episode made you think a little bit differently, or gave you some inspiration, or perhaps gave you the kick that you needed to take action, then please take a couple of minutes to leave me a review on your platform of choice. Because the more reviews the show gets, the more independent retail and e-commerce stores just like yours that we can help to scale. And when that happens, it's a win for you, a win for your community, and a win for your customers. I'll see you on the next episode.